tell me your position on public lands?
Yes, as a matter of fact, this is a personal issue for me as well as a legislative issue. My father is an underground miner, has been ever since I was a kid. So is my grandfather and my uncles. And I've watched their livelihood be taken away by federal regulations on taking away land, both forest and mining areas. The part in which Utah became a state, part of our Enabling Act, was that we would give to the federal government a certain percentage of our state, with the agreement that they had the right to sell that. They would keep 95% of the profit and we would get 5%. Well, the federal government obviously didn't do that because in almost every single one of the western states, they own at least 60% of those states. Part of that's because when Roosevelt became president, he passed what's called the National Parks Act, claiming that those lands that were supposed to be returned to the state could now become national parks. What the state of Utah needs to do is demand the federal government agree to the contract that they entered into. There was a binding legal contract that said that they would give our lands back. Now here's one thing I'd like to see a little different. They say that we only get 5% of those lands profit if they're sold. But you know, if you owe the federal government any money, do they charge you interest? Yes. So I think Utah should charge interest and we get 95% and they get 5%. To me that would be fair with the federal government. But I agree that we have to get our lands back. I'm very comfortable with the legislation that went through the legislature this session for the $3 million in case there's a lawsuit. And I'm hoping the federal government just agrees to follow the contract. The one additional thing I would do is involve the other western states. Utah is only working with 2 other states right now. We need to add all the other western states who have the same problem. Because if all of us are demanding our lands back, the federal government will stand up and listen. And Hawaii has created the precedence for us. They won their lands back. So it's time we did too. Now what I would like to do with those is make sure that we have a master plan. I don't want to see all of our national parks suddenly become a playground for the rich and famous who can buy it all up and then nobody can access it. I believe in access to public lands. But I think the state of Utah can access those minerals, be able to pay for our state, be able to become like Alaska where we get a check instead of having to pay state taxes, and maintain those as state parks, not federal, state. And then we make sure that they're protected for the people and for the citizens of our state. So yeah, I agree with that completely.